This is a video introduction to text apps version 2.0.0. Initially, this was released as DD-AddMod version 1.0.0. Now with text apps, DD-AddMod along with 5 new commands and 3 additional bonus commands has been added. When text apps has been installed successfully in AutoCAD, under the ribbons add-ins, there will be a new panel called text apps, as well as a new toolbar where all the new commands can be accessed. We will go over these total of 6 plus 3 bonus commands. The first command we'll go over is DD-AddMod. Again, DD-AddMod was released a while back, which supported the modification of text, attribute definitions, block attributes, and now also mtext. So when the command is executed, you are then offered the option to select an object, in this case the supported objects, to modify. And I'm going to go ahead and modify this block attribute that contains 2 attributes in this block. So in all instances, whether it's a block or a mtext or attribute definition or text, the top section will show these properties that can be modified, which is the layer, the line type, the color, the line weight, and if you're using name plot styles, also the plot style name itself, along with other properties such as the insertion point can be modified, the scale can be modified, rotation, and in this case I will demonstrate how the attributes can also be modified. Clicking the attributes button, again the same properties in the top of the window is shown. The layers can be changed, the line type can be changed, the color can be changed, the line weight can be changed, and all these properties of the attribute can be changed. In this instance, I'm going to go ahead and select, instead of the justification being middle center, I'm going to change it to top center. And as you can see, that this preview here gives you an idea as to where now the new text justification will be. Let's say I don't want to see that, I want to try something else, and where is bottom right's going to be, and again it shows you where the bottom right's going to be versus right. What's the difference? And so it's off by a little bit versus bottom right versus top right. Of course, left will be the left side versus the top left or bottom left. So it's nice to have this preview here as to where the justification moved from or to. Also, with that justification change, you can actually retain the location. So initially it was, again, let's say I forgot where it was. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that, and let's go back in. So initially it was mid-center. So we're going to change again that to let's say bottom right. And in this instance, I'm not going to retain the position. Let's see what happens. Click update. Notice that that block attribute has moved because I changed the justification. Now I'm going to go to the next one. There are a total of 2, and that's how it tells me that there's 2. I'm going to go to the next attribute here, and that's another attribute. That's the value of the text. This time, again, it's mid-center. I'm going to change it to bottom left, but retain the position. Update. Notice that it didn't move, but it did change the justification location. Now it's called B left or bottom left. All right. So that demonstrates how DD-AddModify can modify block attributes. Okay, and also I could cancel out and say, oh, I really didn't want to do that. Notice that it goes back to the original location. All right. Next thing I want to demonstrate is DD text just. And since we've seen how justification works, it's very similar with this new command, and allows me to select what objects to change the justification. And I'm going to go ahead and change the, since we demonstrated attribute already, I'm going to go ahead and change the attribute definition, which is basically, these are attribute definitions, and it will only let me select attribute definitions where I'm done. But I'm going to go ahead and select again the different justifications that can be selected for text or attribute definitions. And right away, as you see, as I select different options, the location changes visually on the screen so I can see where it is. So I'm going to change them all to center. And this time I'm going to uncheck retain positions so that it will actually move and not retain it. Click OK. Once I click OK, I'm now offer select only attribute definition. So I could trying to select anything else. It's not going to let me do it. But once I select attribute definitions, it highlights it. So it sees that only I could select attribute definitions to change the justification. And it tells me that all selected attribute definition objects change to center justify. Click OK, and right away you see that that has changed. All right. Next command I'm going to demonstrate is, and again, you can access these commands off the toolbar as well as the ribbon. So next command I'm going to demonstrate is called dd text embed, and this allows me to select multiple text or attribute definitions to change or to modify. Let's say that I have, you see that I have this group of text here, and I do want to change them all at once, but they're just text, individual single lines of text. So I'm going to select them all here, and let's say I'm done. And the next window shows up that tells me, well, how do you want to sort this? Let's say that I want to sort however AutoCAD sees the objects. Once I click OK, it's going to list up to 21 items per page, and whatever orders that this is originally placed in, not in the order of the X, Y coordinate, the left to right or up or right to left. So I said, oh, I really don't want that. I'm so confused now as to what is what. So I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm going to repeat the command again and go back here and then select it again. And this time, instead of saying I'm by selection order, which is random, I'm going to actually say, well, I want to go from sorted from left to right and then top to bottom. And visually you see actually how that looks like. So I'll sort this from left to right. Notice that it goes panel, one panel, and then A panel nameplates, two panel, and then B nameplates, and so on. And again, so it sorts it very nicely in that order. And again, I could cancel out of that and say, well, I really don't want that particular order. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the command and again select it again. And this time I want it to order where it actually goes from top to bottom and then left to right, or let's say right to left. So top to bottom, right to left. So visually it sees that number one, it's going to sort based on top to bottom and then go right to left. Click OK. So again, it shows me that it goes from top to bottom, A, B, C, D, E first, and then the left side next, all the panels. Okay, and then I could of course now edit any part of that. Changed, and say, well, let's do the first one, removed, and then go, oh, let's go to the next page, because apparently there are two pages, so there are a lot of items here. Oh, there's one more addition here, and I don't like that 6. It's actually wrong, so I will call that AA. Click OK. Notice it changed those 8, and there was a change here, and then now it's been changed. Removed shows up now. So that's how this command works, which allows you to edit multiple edit boxes of all text, as well as attribute definition. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to select an attribute definition, and because attribute definitions have the additional prompts and the value and the tag itself, it's going to show all 3 for all the items. And again, it's going to do the order, sort order, and this time I'm going to say by selection order. And notice that it shows each entry as 3 items, because it includes the tag itself, the prompt, and then the value, whatever that might be. So let's say that I want to change the tag from the align. Let's call it def changed, just to see how it looks like. And let's say I change this one too. Instead of say top center, top middle, Let's get rid of it and all that. Let's call it T middle center. Click OK. So notice that it changed those two only and the rest are just left alone. Alright, the next command. This one is called dd text pedit. And pedit means that it's going to allows you to filter out based on the two properties. In this case, well, three: the text object, the layer of the object, and then the rotation of the object. So I could actually select an existing one. In this case, let's say I do want to grab the text, and let's see whatever it's going to grab now whatever text that is on that layer with that rotation, and I could do a selection set, or I'm going to do all, or just do all of them that it finds in this drawing to a new layer. And this layer could be the same, and of course we don't want it to be the same, we want it to be different. So we're going to put it in a different layer with a different rotation. So let's change the rotation to 60. And we'll leave the style alone for now, but let's change the justification of this. All of them will now become mid-left, and we're going to not retain it just to demonstrate that it actually worked. And instead of a height being 5, we're going to try like 15, and with factor 1, let's say 0.75, a little narrower. Actually, you can also change the color of the object itself, so it's no longer by layer. So let's say I want to change all the text. In this case, they're all magenta. We'll change them all to green just so see what happens. And notice that again, this is a very special custom color assignment window, which we'll go over a little bit later. Click OK, and then click OK. Now it's going to find and look for everything in this drawing, and it shows you what's been changed. Okay, it's interesting that the the text align one reacted differently than everything else. And let's say that, well, I really want to change them all back to the way it was. So I'm going to go back to that command, and again pick the text object to inherit that object. And notice that it found the layer now, which is the layer I changed into, the rotation angle being 60. Okay, I'm going to change it back now to 0. And instead of being that layer, I'm going to try a different layer. Go back to or attribute definition layer. That's what these are. And then let's try a bigger height, because that's really small there. So I'm going to try something like 400 or 545, and bring the width factor back to 1. Change the color back to by layer, so it will match with the attribute definition layer, and then click OK. And it shows you that it's going to change everything that it finds to back to 0 rotation. And they're huge, because now they're the bigger text height. So that's how that command works. And now the next two commands actually deal with text only. This command called dd text break allows me to select only text. I could try and select anything else, so it's not going to let me do it. So it lets me only select text, and this, I know these are texts here, and then break that into a second line. So I'll go, I really don't want that, and then select that, back it off, press tab or return, and right away it knows that I don't want that dash change in the first line, and automatically puts it in the second line. And let's say that actually I want to add more information, so I could click on the edit text strings and then say change to this line, let's just say, just to show what can be done. Click OK. So notice that actually there's a second line here, which I'm going to go ahead and remove this so you can see. So automatically it filled out using the same exact properties of the original text and put everything on the second line. All right? And the text merge is just the opposite of that, because it allows me now to merge, dd text merge, this string, which is what's called the source string, with anything else that selected our text in the sequence that I've selected it. And notice that it shows that here on the window that appears. So one panel vendor was the original text, and then as I select all the other ones, it automatically places them all along with into that text string. And it asks me, well, do I want to retain those additional text strings I selected or not? And I'm going to say no. Uncheck that, click OK. Notice all the text strings I selected is gone. Now I have a really long text string using the exact same properties of the original source text. So I've basically discussed the 6 commands that comes with text apps. Now I'm going to discuss the bonus commands. And these bonus commands are all basically the same because they all involve a color assignment. And the first one involves DDE color, which is the entity object assignment. So whatever the current entities are that will be newly created now is on basically by layer. 256 means by layer. And I go, well, I want to change all entities I create from this time forward to yellow. Click OK. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a rectangle here. Notice that's yellow. Okay, and you can see the properties here. Even though the layer itself would not be 0 or color 0 or a different color, so the layer itself should be color red, right? Whereas the entity color is yellow. So let's do that again. From now on, I'm going to create any entities I create would not be yellow but green. Let's draw a circle. And sure enough, it's green. So that changed the entity color. Oh, let's go back to the where it was, which is by layer, 256. So let's do that again. Draw a line. So now it's back to red, which is the layer of which is the same as the layer color itself. So that's the first bonus command of assigning colors. The second one is actually changing the layer color itself. So as we've seen before, that layer currently is red. So we want to change this layer color to now blue. Click OK. Look, the color is now blue for that layer. It's no longer what it was, which is red. Let's do it again. And this time we're going to change that layer color to cyan. Click OK. All right. One last bonus command is you could change any objects that you select to a different color using the same concept. So once I select that command, I will select those objects, and now I'm offered the same custom color assignment window. Now let me explain a little bit about what these basically swatches mean. The first section at the very top, I've basically divided the color assignments by a family, what I call a family of colors, because in the 255 color spectrum, in reality there are only a total of 6 colors, and then plus the black and white or monochrome gray tones, which I placed at the bottom. So I've included in this text apps package all the CTP files that will actually work with these color assignments, going from very heavy, I call it extra bold, with those pen weights and those color numbers, to very light, which I call extra fine, blue, and blue is very hard to see on the black screen anyway, so usually those will be very fine, and using those color numbers. So when any of these color numbers are entered in here, the CTB files will basically plot properly using these pen weight assignments. Or you can select these color numbers from, of course, here. So the top palette of where it says full AutoCAD color index palette, the index of the top palette is all the even numbers. So for example, 222, and that's a sequence up to 200. 22 would be here, or 202, 204, oops, 222. Got it right there. So all the 200 series will be here. It will give you this kind of color tone. which is magenta actually, not this. 242 would give you the red tone. So 242 will give you the red tone. And again, the blue colors are here. So 180, 180 is right here. If it's you want 192, 192, which will give you the bluish or purplish tones. And everything underneath here will be all the odd numbers from 11 through 249. These are basically reserved for actually color tone plots. So if you really need color and not a black line, then you will basically select any of these colors down here, and the CTB files will take care of that. Lastly, and again, I was saying that this bottom where section where it says gray colors or screen tones, so these are designed to give you a grayish tone when you select these, all the way up to black, or what I call black or white, which is color 7. So 255 will be basically nothing. You can't see anything there. It's like paper color. Versus as you go from 254, it gets a little darker and darker and darker. All right. So once I'm going to click OK, and then these objects I selected should be assigned now to that color, 251. All right. That concludes the introduction to the text apps version 2.0.0. Thank you.